So Juan, man, it's like week 15 now. It's been an amazing few couple weeks, and more importantly, it's been an amazing year for me. I'm coming a couple weeks shy or days shy of like being here for a year now, and you just finished talking to me. Something that Preston's religiously on for me is protein intake, or the idea of the protein now for me is what's most important, most crucial part of my day. And so, man, you brought an idea to me, which is if at the end of the night you've got to get all the rest of the protein in before bed, which is something that I never tried to do that. And man, thank you for that, most importantly. But you also mentioned to me something just now that, man, it sparked an idea in my mind, and I'd like to add a little bit more to that, or see if you could give a bit more insight into that. The idea that what we eat is like the leading thing, the driving force in our day or in our physique, and that our physique is what's going to be allow us to pour into other individuals, whether that's significant others or people in your environment, coworkers, partners. What's the insight that we could give onto that aspect of protein and nutrition? I guess more or less.
The best way to look at it is that what we eat is what we are.
Right.
If I have enough protein, I know my muscle recovery is going to be 100%. Stronger muscles, I can move better, I can function better, I can live better.
Right.
If I have vegetables, I got the right nutrients and minerals in my body.
Okay.
Carbohydrates, I have the right amount of energy. So now everyone's a different individual. Everyone has different tasks that they do. They have different workouts, or some people box, some people do HIIT, some people CrossFit, some people bodybuilding. So depending on what it is you're doing, then it's about gauging what you need and how much you need. Do you see what I mean? But the next thing to think about is, if this is what I understand I need for the next day to perform, does it make sense to go to sleep without what I need?
Right, which is the part that I never really looked into, that I wasn't aware of. Like, oh, you know what? If I do know I need a certain amount of protein in a day, or grams of it in a day, then whether that means I do it midday or I do it before going to sleep, I got to try to fit it all into my day. And so that was part of the,
Yeah. And a great way to frame it, right? It would be, let's use a metaphor. If I am a salesman and I need this quota before my end of day at 5 p.m., and without that quota, I didn't really do a good job.
right,
Look at it the same way. The food is your quota, for your, and that quota is for your next day. And more importantly, it's about how you feel. So the next thing to say is, for people, is that they have to go experience. Because me personally, I was brought up in a household where rice and beans was eaten on every meal all day. Go ahead, presidente, that's good for you. That's what men drink. So the question is that information really the best information?
right,
Now this goes back to the idea of always making sure and referencing that the information we're getting is the best. And even when it comes to like information for anything, that goes to everything. If someone's telling me, hey, listen, like this business deal, if you put in this much, you're gonna receive this much, I'm gonna make sure I get all the information. Hey, if you go and you complete this contract and you do it in this way and such, I'm gonna get all the information. Hey, just so you know, right, like I seen so-and-so and they said that, hey, this is what they're feeling and you're making them feel that, then I'm gonna get all the information. Because also, like with so-and-so, like, what did they do? So now a great way to look at that is if there's an elephant, right?
okay,
And there's someone behind, someone's on the left, someone's on the right, someone's in the front, they can only see their side. An elephant's so big that the only way to actually see all the information, you have to go around. And if you understand that, that's how you make decisions. That's why it's so important not to make judgment. And when I say not to make judgment, it's really, you have to think as human beings, we have positive and negative biases. Then a lot of the time we go and we start making decisions without realizing, do I have the best outlook?
Okay.
Therefore, judgment without perception in front is fruitless.
And how does Juan nowadays go about vetting all the information that's coming in and out through, your day to day?
I follow my intuition.
Okay.
Automatically. If I have, let's say, every single day I got some type of fire. So if I have this fire in front of me, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go reference a book that has to do with that information if I'm not familiar with it.
Okay.
Now, if I am familiar with it, or if I'm not and I already referenced the book, next I'm going to call the people that I know who have been proven in the field with that type of information. Then, let's say if I don't know somebody in that field, I'm going to find someone that does know somebody in that field. And before I make any type of decisions, I'm gonna then not only reference the book and the information I got from there, not only reference what I got from whatever expert I reached out to, now I'm gonna bring it all back to me and go with what I know.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because through my experiences from all these different industries, my divergent thinking, it's very effective.
Yeah.
But that's because it's been prepared. I have so much I've thrown into my subconscious. I've probably been reading every day for over 5 years already. There's so much in my subconscious that I'm gonna trust me because I've also made a lot of great decisions. I've also faced a lot of challenges and obstacles. So I know that my discernment and my judgment has been tested and proven.
Right.
What I don't want to end up doing is having conversations with people who are telling me, hey, I think this or I think that. I kind of want to have all right, so this is what you did in that situation.
Yeah.
I want to hear about firsthand experience. I think the best experience that you can ever acquire, the best form of information, comes from firsthand experience. Now, this is the thing, too. I'm also okay with whatever happens. And that's so powerful because I think a lot of people, they go into this perspective if I go and make a decision or if I make a judgment, it has to succeed.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
You just have to learn from it.
Yeah.
Whether it works or it doesn't, learn from it. And that's how judgment improves.
Yeah, I think that's very important that you mentioned because I feel like the more you enable yourself to embrace okay, this is a moment for me to learn from right now, and if you walk into everything okay, there's something that I'm gonna learn from it, whether I win or lose, then you're winning regardless because you're growing.
All right, well, let's go ahead and take it even further. Winning and losing, succeeding and not succeeding, success and not success, it doesn't exist.
Right.
Only understanding.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing to know.
Understanding is the freedom.
Right.
Once you understand something, right, that means that you can put it together and you can take it apart and put it back together again.
Yeah.
But that's because you know.
Right.
The best outlook is to always go into conversations looking to deepen your understanding, not to show that you know more, or not to be right, or more about deepening your understanding. And I say it because we all have different experiences in life. We all have different things that we know about. So the reality is, it doesn't matter what a human being has achieved or not achieved. I think too often we go and we place our ideas based on what someone's done on paper. I kind of rather have the conversation and see what the person's experienced. Because to me, right, wisdom is always more effective than knowledge. And then, do they have what I want?
Yeah.
If they don't have what I want, could they really know how to get what I want? If they haven't achieved it, it doesn't matter how many achievements you have, doesn't matter how many, things you've been successful at or succeeded in.
Yeah.
If I want to achieve something that's over here that you haven't touched, then, I don't think you're the person I should listen to.
Right.
I'd rather listen to that person who doesn't have anything that you have, but has been successful at that thing I want to achieve.
Right.
And achievement is not, you can't always look at it as something that's monetary.
Okay.
Achieving, right? And it's about life. A lot of people would consider me as a business mogul or entrepreneur, or to me, I'm an artist. I'm a creator.
Wow, that's beautiful.
You know, like,
more to that?
Yeah, I'm here to contribute. I'm here to create. I'm here to make the things that I have discovered and found in this world when I came into it either better or something that's brand new. But even if I create something, it doesn't mean I have to finish it.
Yeah.
It's better if we just keep passing the torch. Mm-hmm. It's that. It's when I go into, let's say, a school, I'm creating those structures. I'm creating the curriculums. When it comes to Get Fitness, the systems, the processes, how to teach. Even here, I teach awareness. I teach life awareness. The fitness is the conduit. When I go into corporate settings, it's the same thing. I'm creating things from everything that's in my subconscious and my experiences.
Right.
Therefore, whatever I create, it's always going to be brand new. Because it's coming from what I know of the world when it comes to knowledge. But more importantly, it's coming from my wisdom.
Yeah.
So when I use my perception and I put myself in those situations, this is what works. And I've put myself in enough brand new experiences having to do with business and having to do with, like success and achievement, that I know that it doesn't matter what comes in front of me, I know I'm going to succeed at it. And I know I'm going to be great at it because I've done it that much. And I think the most important fact is that it's going to be unique because it's coming from my wisdom.
And you mentioned wisdom. A second ago, you also compared the two. Can we add more onto like what the differences are between wisdom and knowledge?
Yeah, knowledge is, I pick up this book, right? Right now I'm reading David Brooks. I'm reading his books.
Yeah.
And it's Road to Character, Second Mountain. And I love his outlook.
Okay.
I love his perception that he's sharing with me.
Okay.
So now I'm reading his wisdom. His wisdom, right, what he's experienced, is become the knowledge that I'm learning, which then I will apply through my life, and I will earn the experience with his knowledge and synthesize my own wisdom.
Right.
And now with my wisdom, now I'm going to also give it to others.
Sure.
Because basically, that's what I do. I keep synthesizing information. Everything that is Get Fitness is being synthesized over and over. Yeah. Now, what was unique about what we did is that we didn't just stop at physical fitness. It's the mental and the emotional fitness. So when you combine physical, mental, and emotional, now we're talking about energetic fitness. We teach energy. That's the fruit of Get Fitness, is your energy.
Right.
Because now when you do the physical fitness and now you have vitality, when you do the mental fitness, not only do you have focus and concentration, but the amount of knowledge and information you have in your subconscious, it's incredible. Then emotional fitness, that's your resilience. That's your perseverance. Yeah. We teach you that when you're going through something hard, it feels hard until it feels easy. Right. Which means if we understand how the human body works, when we're going through something new and unexpected and unknown and uncomfortable, our body screams at us.
Yeah.
Which there's this principle called pain versus pleasure. When things are pleasure, it's easy to go. It's easy to live. But when we're in those, in those feelings of unknown, uncomfortableness, unsureness, uncertainty, then we feel pain because we feel our feeling of that body and screaming. Right. I always say that feeling, you're going to identify as fear, but what you really need to identify is as excitement, and you got to go dance in that chaos. Right. Because that is how you grow. But if we've been conditioned to run away from pain, we actually need to go towards it, because it's in that pain and that suffering that opportunity lies, which is where our new self lies, which is where our evolution lies, which is where we become stronger. And every day that you practice in that, you're becoming more. Now, let's talk about another form of wisdom. Okay. Because now I spoke to you about books and applying it and attaining wisdom. Yeah. Then there's the ultimate wisdom. Okay. It's the wisdom of action. Yeah. Yeah. The wisdom of action is meaning. What it does and the way it means is that we're always prepared. Some people are always saying like, oh, I'm waiting till I'm prepared. No, you're already prepared because you are who you are. So take the action and go grab the information from those actions, and that's your wisdom. Yeah. What does that mean?
That's powerful.
Well, we're looking to open up the second location next summer. See what I just did there, right?
Exciting.
Yeah. And I'm saying that out loud because I'm holding a contract with myself.
Yeah.
I'm manifesting. I visualized it.
Yeah.
Now, through the word, I'm putting it out into the world because therefore it will become my thought and belief.
Yeah.
So I'm already programming myself. Next summer, how come? Because we have a school season to go through. Right? So by the time next summer comes, then we could really just focus and we could get the whole entire team. We have a lot coming up this year that's super exciting. Yeah. Retreats, seminars, freaking conferences, so there's a lot of work to be done. But when we go into that, we're going to learn from doing it because we already learned how to do this, but now we're going to learn, all right, how do you now, this is the tree. Mm-hmm. Now let's go plant its first seed. Yeah. Right? And then once we plant the second seed, the third seed gets easier. The fourth and the fifth becomes even easier.
Sure.
Because it's as you're doing that action that you're grabbing the knowledge and the wisdom. Yeah. And if it's what you've been doing, right, no one can imitate it.
Yeah.
And I say it is because someone can come in here, grab everything we do. They could, every process, but the essence of it, the energy of it,
you can't recreate.
Can't. Because they have no idea where it needs to be sustained.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be sustained.
Yeah.
They don't know what happens behind the scenes. And in that concept, what I advise young entrepreneurs or people that want to go into business and be entrepreneurs, go get next to someone who's doing it.
Yeah.
I understand all this because I put myself in a situation in my early 20s when I was next to Robert Caruso and we were opening up bars and nightclubs, Yeah. He's opening up another bar right now, Wayne Airhouse Pizza. But being next to him is what gave me the understandings and the insights that I needed to do what I do today.
Right.
It was all preparation.
Certainly.
I learned how he thinks. I learned how he operates. Because that's what we need to do. We need to share thinking. Mastermind groups. That's how we synchronize, synergize. Group thinking, sharing ideas, stoicism.
Yeah.
Let's meet. Let's grow. In order to do that, though, you do have to be open.
Okay.
And I say it because you don't know what you don't know. And what you need to know, you're going to find it where you don't know. So chances are it's not going to make sense to you. And you're not going to understand it until you experience it. So allow yourself the opportunity to experience it.
Yeah.
And what do I mean by that? Once I find a believable person, even if I don't understand it, you better believe I go all in on their understanding if they've achieved what I'm looking to achieve.
Right, right.
Because if they spent 20 years figuring out how to do that one thing, you better believe I ain't gonna spend 20 years trying to figure that out. I'm gonna spend one day as soon as they give it to me to go put that into. I'm gonna apply it right away.
You're right there next to them. Yeah.
Perspective.
Right.
Perspective over judgment.
Yeah, that's so powerful.
Yeah, and now go even further. Like,
Okay.
open up, be vulnerable, be honest.
Yeah.
And I tell you because I recently saw an interview where it says like, oh, you can't be vulnerable because then people are going to use that against you, and it's going to slow you down. And me personally, my perspective is by being vulnerable and being open about it, you're being open about your shortcomings.
Yeah.
I think, and from my perspective and my perception, it's a lot more powerful when I show you my shortcomings and I show you how far I've come.
Yeah.
I think that will inspire a lot more masses. I believe, because it shouldn't even be I think, let me correct myself. I believe that end of the day, when the masses see that you start with, they start with the same problems they had, with the same emotional, baggage they had, with the same, thinking at the time where might have been negative and now it's positive. They're gonna see how far you traveled on your journey. They're gonna see the path that you created and the trail you left behind.
Right.
I'd rather people understand that I wasn't always where I'm at. I want them to know that this has been a lifelong work in progress. You might see what you see now, but this has been a lifetime. I've been at this all my life. I'm 37 years old, and I've been at this for 37 years.
Yeah.
Learning, experiencing, refining myself every single day, calibrating myself every single day, pouring into myself every day, giving every day. Yeah. Adding value to myself and others every day. I want them to know I started where they started.
Yeah.
This is given to everyone. This opportunity to live life has been given to everyone. This consciousness, right? This knowing, the fact that we can add to it, the fact that we can expand it, the fact that we can manifest, that we can create, this opportunity has been given to everyone. The only thing we have to do is get out of our own way.
Yeah. And that's so beautiful that you mentioned that, because obviously I get to experience these things firsthand a lot of the time. So even earlier today, just observing the discussion that you were having and knowing and reflecting on it with you afterwards, understanding that like, even if this individual wasn't ready to hear it right now, it was what needed to happen right now for them to get out of their own way. You know what I mean?
Of course, because there's so much potential in each and every one of us.
Yeah.
And sometimes we carry so much of the external world on us that we go and we avoid the inner work, which is the most important. The inner work that you do here, you want to change the world, do the inner work.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do in here. Yeah. Because if you take on this external world and you're taking on a responsibility here, there, here. I'm not saying you can't.
Okay.
What I am saying is prepare the inner to handle whatever it is you're taking on externally.
Sure.
It's not, let me take on the external and then the inner. No, it's inner, then external. Yeah. Let me act like the person I need to become to be able to handle this external reality. Yeah. Let me embody that behavior first. Yeah. Great story, Gandhi's story, which will explain this perfectly. Gandhi, right, had taken a woman who asked for help. And this woman said, Gandhi, can you please tell my son to stop having sugar because it's not good for him. The doctor says it's not good for him. You know, and then Gandhi goes and says, come back in 2 weeks. So now the lady comes back with her son in 2 weeks, and then Gandhi goes, son, I want you to stop eating sugar.
Okay.
And it was amazing because end of the day, he stopped eating sugar right there and then. Now the mother was like, hey, why couldn't you do that last time? Gandhi said, because until then, I was having sugar. So I went with 2 weeks not having sugar.
Wow.
And then I can ask him not to have sugar.
Yeah. Wow, that's powerful.
Meaning, what he said, be the change that you want to see in the world.
Yeah.
Taking it further, people don't listen to what you say, they listen to who you are.
Yeah.
What you embody, what you practice, what you do.
Yeah.
The message is the medium. It's the person. People feel presence. Most articulation and communication is nonverbal. It's body language. If this body and this body haven't experienced what we're talking about, people are going to know.
Yeah.
So you have to have the understanding that if you're not living it, people don't listen. You have to truly live it. A lot of people say love. A lot of people say kindness, compassion, empathy, patience, wisdom. But ask yourself, are you living it?
Yeah.
Because I forgot who said it, but they say it just like this. I can't hear what you're saying because what you're doing is so loud.
Yeah. That's so powerful.
Then take it further. It's very simple. How do you know? Because it comes from behavior and conduct.
Okay.
I pay attention to behavior and the way people conduct themselves. And the reality is that if you want the end result, right?
Yeah.
People miss the one most important thing. You can imitate my behavior, you can imitate my conduct, but it doesn't mean you're gonna get the same end result. People miss it all the time.
Right.
See, I love people.
Yeah.
I love creation. I do what I do and I give the way I do, not expecting.
Right.
I do it unconditionally.
Yeah, certainly.
And I can tell you that even now, I'm still synthesizing and improving my unconditional love. I'm still looking for holes in it. I'm still looking to make it better. I'm still looking to strengthen it. I'm still looking to strengthen that level of abundance and unconditional love inside of me.
Right.
But you need the right motivation. My motivation is love.
Okay.
I'm gonna embody that inside me. Have I been perfect my whole life? Absolutely not.
Right.
Has this taken a lifetime to get here? Absolutely.
Yeah, certainly.
But that's my motivation. What emotion are you holding inside? What is it going to be your motivation? Because I can promise you, if it's low-level motivation like envy, jealousy, you're gonna get the same end result. If it's the motivation of attaining more, you're gonna get the same end result.
Right.
If it's the motivation of status, fame, credit, recognition, you ain't gonna get the same end result. Because your driver, what drives you is different.
Right.
What feeds my spirit and what feeds your spirit is different.
Not the same, yeah.
And what I can understand is that when you have a spirit fueled with the idea of unconditional love, it's a powerful thing. It's a spirit that, not that you don't go through it, because you go through it. You feel what you feel, but it ain't stopping. It's gonna go through it and it's gonna rise.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
During winter, I found an invincible summer inside me. You know, like that's happening. You know, like that, and that's the perspective. So you need the right motivation, because if you don't have it, you're not gonna manifest it. All greatness in this world has been created by great spirits that, in their perspective, their genius is they were so in love with the world around them. Because to get to that level of understanding, you have to be in love with the world and its people. And forgive them because they do not know. And that's okay. But to forgive also means to forget. And what do I mean by forget? That means that you got to forget what they've done. Because as you hold on to that, if you're actually going to hurt your faith and your belief. You actually need to make sure that all you see is good. All you hear is good. All you say is good. And just have faith and belief it'll work out. And don't worry about the occurrences around you. Don't worry about the external, because you can control you. You can control how you respond to everything. But if you're going with faith and belief, that's how you teach it. You model it. Right. You inspire them. You do it. Yeah. Even when they do things that they can't themselves believe, like, wow, they're still loving me? Still caring about me? Still there for me? Challenging me and telling me what I don't want, knowing I'm going to be upset with him? That's love. Mm-hmm. That's how you do it.
Yeah. And man, it's tough. I would imagine. I mean, in your case, I know we've gone over this. This is just what you have to do, whether it's tough or not. These are things you do because you love unconditionally. But man, in the moment, a lot of the times, it's a lot easier said than done to practice that. When you know somebody needs from you, and if you give them that unconditional love that sometimes feels harsh, let's say, like how people like to say it, that harsh love, but you know that that's what they need and what they're going to grow from, whether it's today, right? Because as you mentioned, you understand that sometimes you give things to the people today, but they only grow from it when they're ready for it. So that might be weeks, days, months down the line, but you planted years, of course, and you planted the seed. Man, but it could be tough to rip that Band-Aid off sometimes. Just feel it. Yeah.
Every breath is a new me.
Yeah, and to shift gears a bit, because man, you sparked something in me earlier when you were speaking about pain and embracing it, and I reflected on a conversation that I was hearing. This guru, I believe his name is Sid Guru, and he was talking to Joe Rogan. He starts talking about heaven and how who told us that we're not on it already, and why we act or look for another place to go to finally embrace happiness and to embrace the pain and to like grow from these things. We're always looking for a better place instead of making where we are at this moment the best place that we could possibly be in. Is there any insight that you could give to that you've off the top of your head that sparks you?
Well, what it means, right? Heaven on earth.
Yeah.
It's that. It's the idea of letting go of your wants, of your desires, your low-level emotions, your attachments.
Yeah.
You know, and what that means is to unconditionally love. That means to right speech, right intention, right action. And you notice anything you do, you have to put right in front of it.
Yeah.
But it's very tough for people to do because they're not always willing to do that because of what's externally around them. And what that means is if this person goes and says something mean to me, all of a sudden I need to go say something mean back. Mm-hmm. You know, and then what ends up happening is ego talk. You know, to get there, you actually have to let go of the ego. You have to let go of the idea of excuses, justifying things, denial, sublimation, rationalizing how come things happen. And then you need to come to the understanding that you know, the world is not the way we want it. It is the way it is.
Yeah.
But take it to the further understanding is that the world is what we are. So if inside of me I feel heaven, if I feel peace, if I feel joy, happiness, you know, if I'm every constant move and action I take, every constant word is positive, every single kind of step is positive, every single kind of thought is positive, you know, it's the kind of thing where it's like that's what I'm building every day. Yeah. I'm building that. Now what happens to others is that then all of a sudden someone external from them does something bad to them and it just switches that perception. And now all of a sudden fear, you know, mistrust, all that stuff comes in, you know. But even as you feel that, it's going to scream at you like, hey, but remember what happened here, remember what happened there, remember where I lived here and what there. But they forget that those situations don't happen so they can remember the pain. They happen so they can become better. Yeah. So instead of thinking about like what this person did to me, I'm thinking about what did I do wrong? What can I do better? What can I see better? Yeah. How can I become better? I'm not focused on what the person did. Yeah. I'm focused on what was I doing during that time? Yeah. And what can I improve on? Now, when I reflect, I always think about what can I get better at. Okay. You know, and that's really what it comes down to. So now, in order to do that, you have to attention, awareness, and observation. Now, attention means that I focus on the details around me.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
Awareness means that I am in my present and I am aware of all this that's going on in me. And observation, I'm paying attention to the people around me and their behaviors and conducts. Okay. And then I'm looking to match what their motivations so I know where to spend energy. Right. Now all I see is good. So because I always, let's say I make the judgment today that so-and-so is not ready for energy.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that my perception can't change and me see that they're at a different stage of life a week from now and that now they have better understanding. Now I'm like, okay, now they're ready, so I give it to them now.
Yeah.
And what that means is that once you reach a level of clarity and joy and happiness and love, you're not meant to disappear into like the sunset. Mm-hmm. No, the opposite. You're meant to go into the garden and start pulling the weeds and start planting seeds. Yeah. And when I say pull the weeds, do I mean kick people out? Do I mean like get rid of this, get rid of that? No, I mean like fix the weed, turn the weed into a seed. Let's take it a step further. Yeah. Okay. You know, let's conceptualize the idea that we can turn weed into seeds.
That's powerful.
You know, because I think too often people just discard.
Yeah.
I'm not saying leave yourself open for attack or, you know, I'm not saying leave yourself open for sabotage. Sometimes you have to remove a weed from the environment.
Right.
But that's okay. That doesn't mean that you wish the weed bad. Yeah. That just means that you care enough for the weed to understand that you're not meant to turn that weed into a seed. And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But by you freeing the weed, you're giving the weed an opportunity to turn into a seed.
Yeah. Wow. It's deep. That's super powerful. That is super powerful. Wow. Yeah. Those are the kind of insights that spark fire inside of me. You know what I mean? It's amazing because it's true. Sometimes the people that you have to move out of an environment isn't necessarily because they won't grow, but maybe that environment isn't for them and you need to release them to do the growth elsewhere.
Yeah, and honestly, when it comes to it, the ultimate growth is virtuous. Mm. It's your personal highest moral ideal. Yeah. Do good. Yeah. You know, like it's really easy. When your natures are at battle, you have two natures inside you. One wants external things, the other one wants internal peace. Mm-hmm. You know, you gotta do the inner work. And the reality is, let's just say, good and evil, right? Like you just gotta do good. You feed your higher level emotions. You do good, it's gonna be good, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that you get rid of your, you know, it's called a shadow side, right? Like where it has like the other emotions, but more like when it's triggered, when it's ignited, learn to use it for good. Learn to use that energy for good.
Right.
Learn to harmonize it.
Yeah.
You know, like if you feel angry, right? Don't go, let me solve this problem. Let me go get this work on it. Let me go to this library and learn. Let me go work on my business. Let me go do something constructive. Let me go and transform this energy into something that's gonna do good for my life.
Yeah.
You know, let me turn it into positive consequences.
Yeah, major. I mean, in there, in and of itself, I feel like it's a huge opportunity for anyone to learn from and grow. It's like, hey, yes, embrace the feeling that you're going through right now, maybe that anger, but take a step back, zoom out, and use it for something constructive, versus something that's gonna be destructive. Yeah, that's big. It's big. Do you find yourself in those moments? Where do you reach to? What's your place to construct?
My perception. I always see the big picture.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm always in humor because I see the big picture.
Yeah.
When you can see the big picture, you understand what's happening.
Yeah.
If I can understand someone because I really care to understand,
Yeah.
because that's also important. If you don't care to understand, you're not gonna understand. You're not gonna be able to see it. You gotta care.
Right.
Then you're doing it for the right reasons. You have the right motivation. You're helping them be better. Now, something I like to say, it's life itself is always about making it better. So perception is, for me, instead of being like, hey, you know, so and so this or so and so that, my perception is more, how do I make this better? What's the next step in this situation?
Yeah.
I don't care about, you know, talking about my stance, or hey, you're wrong, hey, you're not talking to me correctly, hey, you just unloaded all your negative emotion on me, hey, you don't have all the information, and you're taking out something on me that if you had all the information, you would understand.
Yeah.
No, I ask myself, what do I do to make this better? And how many steps is it going to take to keep making it better? Because I know it's not going to stop here, so I'm not going to do a little bit more. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. And I just put it all into a system, and I contextualize, and then I perceive, and then I have foresight, and then I go. Because if I told you I love people, right?
Yeah.
Then my job is not to take it personal. My job is to make things better and help this person.
Exactly.
You know, I do things for the love of people and the love of creation. I don't do things because I'm expecting this person in that moment to be like, wow, I can't believe you did this for me. It's all right if I'm gonna be a bad guy for a day, a week, month, year. Yeah. If I really care about you, I can live with that.
Yeah, wow, that's powerful. That's something that I feel like I'm growing in, and you are allowing me to realize that that's a part of my life that I'm constantly still. That's the part that I'm like vigorously attacking right now in my life. Is that okay? I care about you deeply, any individual that's in my life, and so because of that, then if I'm pouring into you, although it might not seem like I'm trying to have you grow, I do. That's the underlying intention is that. And even if you have to play per se the bad guy because of that, because you're giving them something they don't want to hear in the moment, then I feel like throughout this conversation, what I'm realizing is, okay, then to take it a step further, for me, I need to allow them to see, okay, this energy that you're feeling, transfer it to something else. Transfer it to something constructive. Maybe you don't understand that you could do that right now in this moment. So how about let's push it till tomorrow or whenever you see fit. But let's use this as a fire to construct instead of destroy.
I help you and give you this step. when you have one of those situations,
Yeah.
let them observe you in it.
Right.
Smile for them.
Yeah.
Let them see you do it.
Yeah.
Share that with them.
Yeah.
Share that experience that you already have with them, and explain to them what happened, and you can share that story. Now, if you get really lucky, they can see it in the moment, and then you make sure you point it out and you
Yeah.
show them, hey, listen, look, this is what happened, but now this is how I'm gonna handle it. This is how I'm gonna transfer this energy, and now they get to see it. So now they can imitate your behavior.
Yeah, man, that's so powerful. Thank you so much, Juan, because every time that we have these conversations, there's some ounce of this conversation that I take with me and I apply it to my day, I apply it to my week, I apply it to my knowing. And it's amazing because it helps me grow. And every time I reflect on that, I realize how much more I'm growing each and every day. You know?
It's the best part about life.
Yeah.
The growth is for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Life is exciting when you start focusing on experience.
Yeah. Yeah. With that, we are what we believe. Man.